Thank you and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the workshop. I hope you guys had a good session today, and we'll dive into one important aspect. Everyone has been talking about AI, consuming AI. We'll talk about how you can monitor your AI applications that you're consuming. Starting with some facts. So, one of the Gartner report that Gartner had released was 70% of the organizations are already exploring the AI in some form or shape, maybe generating content, maybe generating images, or generating code. By 26, we'll see generative design and AI automations will take over. We already are seeing a lot of different code, Codex, Claude Code, Gemini, all of that. We are generating code, maybe for sample applications in production or whatnot. So that report is already true in 2025 itself. So by 26, 60% of the codes will be written by AI. And by 75% of the time, we are concerned that it's going to have problems, misinformations, errors. If you have not already read the report, there was a fine that was added on one of the organizations for writing a AI generated code for a government agency. I'll not name names, but you can read about it in news. So that's already happening. And if something is going wrong, traditionally the applications are already failing. How do you pinpoint that? And now with AI being a black box, how do you start pinpointing that? Because it's a black box. How do you identify if it's your application or the AI that you're trying to consume? Your user experience is going wrong. Is it your AI or your apps? With that, I'll switch to some challenges that we have seen across AI suites and our customers also consuming AI, what they are facing. These are top 3 challenges which we have noticed while consuming the AI. First is increased complexity. We have already had logs, metrics, traces, and now we have too many things. Multiple SDKs, multiple models, then comes the MCP and agentic and various stuff. The complexity of the app building and application deployment is increasing. How do you make sure that all of these frameworks are also working for your best interest, which is keeping the uptime of your application and adhering to SLAs? Second, it's all new telemetry. With the traces, logs, and metrics, it was easy. It was predictable. You knew what kind of logs you want to capture, what kind of traces you will be getting. You know the request latency, response latencies. But with AI, you have tokens. You have completion tokens, stack tokens. How much was the request time? How much was the response time? Different models have different response time. That's the performance benchmarks. Each time you read about the new LLM model coming out into the market, talking about we are fastest, we are more performant, more number of parameters. So increased complexity with new telemetry as well if you want to monitor these aspects of your application. How do you correlate it with your actual application performance so that you know that this is the AI system that's causing the problem? Should I optimize it? Should I tune it? Or just swap it out with a different model? Then comes the third and most important aspect, which is security and compliance. Again, it's a black box. You send a request, you get an output. How do you make sure it's adhering to your governance models? There are guardrails. All models claim that they are guardrails, but different domains, different businesses have their own guardrails that they want to implement. How do you ensure that users who are consuming your apps, within the AI applications are bound to within your constructs of guardrails? So we'll talk about all of these challenges, starting with increased complexity. It's a simple application where you have Python application talking to some chat application, in this example, GitHub models. This is what you get today with Neuralic's AI monitoring. And that's what the workshop will be about. We'll show you hands-on using GitHub models, how you can capture all of these telemetry. In this example, if you notice, just like traditional traces, we are able to capture all the trace that's coming from OpenAI, from GitHub models inferences, from the Python application. And these are just focused on the AI spans. If you want it to be correlated with your actual traces from your application, you get that too. On the right hand side, you'll see what was the request and what was the response, and overall, how many tokens were consumed by your model and what was the request duration, including logs, which is already everything contextualized. So if something goes wrong, you can just look at this screen and identify it was OpenAI that was giving the wrong response, or it was OpenAI that actually failed. Now that was a very simple example. But this is what we are trying to achieve. We have chat service written in some other language. We are using OpenAI. Then we have vector database, multiple prompts, chains, and whatnot. What about in that scenario? Well, you get elaborated scenarios, you get elaborated traces. From different tooling or different chain of thoughts that you're constructing using LangChain or your different agents, you will be able to get the complete trace. Complete context into what was the user input. If you want to set up some context or some warnings, some keywords that you don't want your users to use, you can set up the guardrails around that. And if you want to focus on the quality, what kind of keywords are coming within your trace, from which response, which layer, you can capture that. So if you notice the genai.operation.name, that's the new telemetry. We are capturing from OpenAI SDK. If it has a LLM parent, that means if the trace has a parent, if there was any other subsequent previous request, we are capturing that. Now, with all that complexity, we want to focus on the quality as well, because hallucination is a thing. You want the AI responses to be accurate as well. So when you are bundling your AI solutions and providing it to your end users, if your end users see an improper response, the impact is on your business. So how do you monitor what was the request and what was the response? The AI monitoring with Neuralink provides that capability out of the box. This is a response from 4.1 nano. You get a 4.0 turbo, 4.1. So regardless what model you're using, you're able to capture the responses and compare the quality. Again, regardless of what model you use, this will be captured. It's not very specific or restrictive to OpenAI or Anthropic. Any model that you are trying to use today, all of these will be captured out of the box. Most importantly, you also want to maintain the cost. AI is expensive. How do you know which model is working best for you? Not in terms of performance, but also in terms of cost. How do you track that? Tokens is one of the primary things everyone calculates cost. There is 1 million token, 10 million token limit, pro plans, max plans. But in terms of your application, which model is consuming more, we provide you the data within your single observability dashboard. For security and compliance also, we have some of the features which is built in. If you don't want to capture certain application, AI monitoring application specific telemetry, we provide you the control which you can just turn off the AI monitoring. This does not impact your existing AI application performance monitoring. The AI monitoring as part of API, Neuralink APM is an extension to that. It enhances the existing application performance monitoring. Second, if you don't want certain content or messages, we provide you the options to filter out that data or mask that data. So on the fly, it can be masked and your data, PII data or whatever is masked. So we provide you the tools with safeguarding and also that protects and adheres to your governance models. The solution to all of this is Neuralink AI monitoring, which is first in the industry. It was launched about 2 years ago, which was GA'd. And since then, we have been building on top of that with a lot of new features. Any model that you have, even with DeepSeek, we were the first one in the market to launch the support for that. So if you're using DeepSeek, we have the observability solution for that as well. All of this will, I'd rather you see as part of the workshop, hands-on that Jones will walk you through how we actually capture that, how you can set up that, and how easy it is to that. So if you have a laptop, you can start following along. We'll show you the lab. If not, you can capture the link and you can try it on your own. The lab will be active till Friday, so you can use your own GitHub tokens and give it a shot. We'll also show you in the lab, how we can compare all the performance versus cost. This is again part of the platform. Then one feature that we have is called LLM evaluation. So in the LLM evaluation, you can configure what kind of thresholds, toxicity, hallucination that you can tolerate. Every organization, every application can have different thresholds that you can configure as part of the feature that's part of the platform. With that, I'll hand it over to Jones. You can scan the QR code or take a photo and you can attend the lab later on.
Thank you, Zameer. I'll take a pause here while you get the QR codes handy. And if you have a laptop, you can open the link as well. That said, if you have the QR code, you could still have access to it for until Friday. So now that uh, what the QR code will do is it'll send you to a link and it'll open up a form asking you for details like your name and what company. And once you submit it and start the lab, you will come into some screen like this. It'll take about 2 minutes for it to get loaded because we are provisioning the infrastructure under the hood and we're using a platform called as Instruct. So let me just start it up. And the very first thing that you want to do is check if uh, all of your if it has the complete folder structure. So let me just go into application and to ls. That has pretty much the things needed for the first task. What you need here is your GitHub access token. So I'll just head over here, create one on the go, doing a live demo. So I'll just say API days, AI monitoring. You need to add permission for models and generate token. We'll use this token for now. So what you'll have to do is copy this, add the token that you generate, and run this. Once you run it, in this example or in this workshop, we will be focusing on GPT-4o mini. That's the model that we'll be using. No need, you don't have to provision anything or anything such. It's using your credentials with GitHub personal access token and it'll do it under the hood. This is all under the free trial, just a disclaimer. So I'll just define the model, and in the application tab, the tab that I've opened in, you would have to run a few commands. That's basically installing the requirements and starting the Flask application. Once the Flask application is running, you can open the Flask application here in the chat application window. There are a bunch of prompts that you could try it out with, like tell me about API Days conference, submit it. Let's see what GPT-4 thinks about API Days. Well, it's a global conference and it gave a whole bunch of information about API days. So we know that the model is working, our access tokens are working, we are able to generate some content out of certain prompts that we ask. Now that if you still want to try out, you could ask in more things about things like famous things to do in Bangalore or some techie things around what is AI monitoring, any other prompt that you think of, you could try it on your own. But in the interest of time, we will be going to the next task. So the first task is basically about getting your personal access tokens from GitHub, ensuring the model is working or not by asking certain prompts, and you'll see a response, irrespective of the response being correct or not, or accurate or not. Now that you already have an application that's basically doing AI workload with respect to asking a prompt and then generating some extra content, what we'll do now is check for the same thing with instrumenting New Relic for observability. Because I already have the token configured in my environment variable, I'll just echo it. And again, going with GPT-4o mini, the other thing that you need is your license key. So you can go ahead into your New Relic account. What you do here again is you would need your New Relic account. Again, you can just sign up for a free trial, head into API keys, create a key. This is a license key, so API days AI is what I'll use. Create a key. Oops. Okay, it did give you a key. So you would have to copy it because it's only available for one time. I'll just. So if you're using your application still under free tier and having a New Relic free tier account, all of this is still valid. So all of this is free trial and you can try it out as well. So until Friday. Until Friday. So let me copy this and have to paste my New key here, which I have it in this tab. Paste. So my New Relic license key is also configured. The next thing that you would have to do is under editor, there is a New Relic configuration file. I'll just take a minute here to walk you through the configuration. What we are doing here is this is the file basically that tells what is the things that you want to enable on New Relic in terms of monitoring. We are giving it a entity name, enabling distributed traces, monitoring, log level. We are setting it as info, and also enabling tracers for different transactions. The interest of here is the AI monitoring piece. So this is something that we are enabling it as true, and the rest of the things remains same. You could even go ahead and give it your own name but for the interest of time, just going with AI bot. Under application tab, doing the similar exercise of running the application, but forgot to run one step to.
While,
Now it's running.
while Jones is fixing that, you can use any model as part of the GitHub models that's provided. You don't have to limit it to GPT. If you want to use Mistral, you can use Mistral as well. I think we have that one of the example. So you can cross model if it's part of the GitHub model. You can use Llama self-hosted as well. AI monitoring supports it. In this lab context, we're using GitHub model because it's easy to access to anyone. But if you have an application that works with Llama, you can add Llama as well.
This workshop focuses on GitHub focused models. So any of the models under the GitHub free trial, or even if you have a paid one that's part of your subscription, you could use it. So yeah, again, things in terms of how do I plan for API Days conference? Let me know if you have any questions, Zameer or me. We are happy to answer any questions around AI monitorings while AI takes its own time to generate answers. We are installing different package dependencies, like with respect to GitHub. There's package dependencies. Let me just open that up. OpenAI, Markdown, New Relic, and Flask. That's it. New Relic is the Python agent that we are installing. Sorry?
Yeah, no, Copilot will work differently. So if you have GitHub account, GitHub has their own hosted models. That's what we are consuming here. So we are running model here. We are calling the open GitHub models. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So this again, it's not limited to GitHub. This model can be anything. You can use OpenAI. You can use Anthropic. Any API. So this application that we have built talks to GitHub models. If you have an application that talks to Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, AI monitoring works with that. You can send data logs, but this one will focus only on the AI tracing. That Jones will show the demo in a few minutes. Basically, something which is something you're playing around. Yes, yes. All multiple models that you can self-host or hosted models from Azure, AI Foundry, Gemini, or OpenAI. You can use that. Hmm. Right. It's going to fit into the app
Uh,
layer because your apps are consuming these LLMs. No, you don't have to connect to RSS. Like you deploy the Neuralink APM agent, which has the AI monitoring. The telemetry will be shipped to the Neuralink platform. Yeah.
so
AI monitoring is part of the APM now. You don't have to install anything else. If you are traditionally using Neuralink APM, you just have to update to the latest version. It's part of that. Yeah.
New Relic that you see part of requirements file is basically our Python agent. And once you install it and have the uh, AI monitoring enabled in the configuration file, have this enabled, that should be good. You don't have to set up another or install another agent. Now that while we were taking questions, I was also asking AI model a few questions, and it gave me a couple of responses. Because New Relic is instrumented now, you could see something called as AI bot. The others one you can just ignore because those are not.
I'll wait for Jones to showcase that. So not guardrails, but what is being captured as part of the telemetry. Jones will show it to you in the UI directly. Yeah, because tokens, what it's a telemetry, so you need to have a dashboard or visualization of these telemetries.
Yeah. So now that it is instrumented and my Python agent is giving the APM entity up, I think the internet is a little slow, so it's taking some time to load up all the values. But you get in information about the APM entity itself. For those of you who are not familiar with New Relic, we're giving you information about the throughput, the errors that are happening, and also in terms of giving you a holistic glance of your entity. In the interest of time, we'll focus more on disparate traces and AI responses. So, to answer your question around how is it different from having your APM entity versus AI monitoring, right? This is the same experience that you have with APM entities or your application itself, where you can see that there are a couple of Flask uh, prompts that's running, and in them there's different uh, spans available. You can see that the APM entity is making invocation into Azure, which is basically GitHub under the hood is calling Azure AI Foundry models itself, right? So it's making API calls into Azure, and there are about different spans, and the post invocation into your AI model itself gives you information about the performance, different attributes with respect to uh, what model it is, the model name of the model entity, endpoint, all of that. This, which is very much same as any of the APM entities that you have in your New Relic account. So, what's different with AI? we have something called as AI responses, where after instrumenting, I did try about 6 prompts. And so it says 6 different requests where the response time is close to 8 seconds. The token usage is also available. None of these prompts had any errors, so it says zeros. But if there are any errors, be it with respect to authentication with your GitHub token, or the model not available, or if you run out of rate limits on the different models, you will see errors as well. So what do we give with respect to AI responses? We give you the complete information about what the AI response is, be it from the request prompt, the response that it gave, the token information for each of these prompts, along with it, which model, which vendor, the duration that it took, and the trace IDs. So you can go into each of these prompts. This is where it gives you a complete breakdown, collating information from your API agents. So Zameer had this slide as well while he was talking about it, right? The invocation right from your Flask until the AI model, the complete traces are available, the different spans, also giving you a breakdown of the duration each of these took. So yeah, you can see here how much did the function take, the Python completion and LLM completion, also making an external API call into the API endpoint of the LLM. You can also see the token usage, the responses, the complete response that is there, more information about what model, okay, something. Yeah. So you can see complete information about it using a Python script, and that as a source. The again token information, the host that it was using, the vendor, the trace. Again, it takes you back into something that I showed you earlier, navigating it back to the trace information itself.
So, tying back to your question, if you're running it on your host, whichever host you're running, what models you're using, it comes from the application context. So you're able to capture which host it's running, which model, tying back to how many tokens it's coming. And if you can turn off the trace AI, yeah, it will also show you the application context. If you see it's executing the Python script from Flask, then comes the AI monitoring part. This you get as part of the trace as well. But if you want to focus only on the AI span, that's the default view where we enable the only AI spans. Any calls that's going to the SDK, which is basically a black box, now that's visualized for you. If something goes wrong on one of these layers, you may have multiple toolings. Like one of the example I showed on the slide, you may have multiple tools like search tool, or if you have multiple LangChain combined calls, something goes wrong, you'll be able to see that here.
And I mean, this, for the simplicity of it, is just a simple HTTP or request response invocation. Yes.
So each mistral might have different set of parameters. So based on that, to kind of populate those values.
Yep, that's right. And even if in case you're using something like A2A patterns or having multiple LLM calls, these span breakdowns will give you that information. Say, for example, you're having LLM call that's summarizing things, sending another LLM, or making a multiple chain of thoughts, right? Maybe one of them is taking a lot of time, and that's probably hitting it on your latencies, and you're thinking, okay, my LLM calls is taking a lot of time. This will give you a breakdown in terms of latency to understand which is that API call or which is that LLM call that's consuming a lot of time and hitting it on your latency of your application.
All these will get reflected here.
Yes. Yes.
And custom parameter thing, right? Can you add if your application has a? Is it possible that you can also capture and display that?
Yeah, that's already part of our APM where you can add custom spans. Okay. So any function call that you're making, you can add the custom span. It will reflect here in the same waterflow.
That was for original, right?
Yes.
With AI, but
yeah, but you can enhance that.
enhance.
Yeah.
Did you add evals to the
Evals today is currently a beta feature, but what you can add is on the overall response, not on a specific agent. So whatever your apps are consuming, you define that here. So in terms of telemetry and performance metrics, That's where we evaluate on that. That's the goal. That's the goal where you add it per application the thresholds. Yes, because it's part of the telemetry platform. It's getting evaluated here because telemetry comes in. You have defined the rules. That's where it all gets analyzed. We don't have that today, but as I mentioned, this is a beta feature. If you already use Neuralink, you can provide. We can work with you. We can take the feedback. Yeah, so we don't have that today, but if we release, we might add those things. We are trying to make it flexible.
See, specialized, for example, arrays or some company, right? They're doing all this everything. Those kind of as long as you partner and integrate those, right? You can use for your LLMs.
Uh, Not sure if I get the question.
See, if I'm using third-party tools, right, for monitoring purpose, for specific purpose, for LLM evaluation,
Okay.
and I want to bring it into Theory, is that
If it's an open telemetry format, you can bring it easily. It will work. You'll be able to visualize, set up alert, create dashboard, everything that you can do. But if it's a proprietary tool, they won't have bidirectional integration.
open telemetry is the key.
Yeah.
Standard formats.
Yes.
In case if the LLM hallucinates a lot, how can we able to resolve that?
So just like any other telemetry, you will look at your traces, your data, because hallucination is a concept very specific to what you're trying to achieve. It's not a generic thing. So you will look at the data, then you can set, tune the model or tune the request itself. So this provides you an overview. Okay, if your input output is good or not. If you see output is bad, it's hallucinating. In the LLM eval, if you have set up the guardrails correctly, it will point to you that. But fixing that, it's just like, if your infra is going down, can we bring it up back again? Not today. We do not fix that for you.
If something is wrong, we give you that information so that you can correct it yourselves.
No, we are coming from the application context where you're consuming AI, not fine tuning your existing models. Okay. Okay. So to simplify, like, can you compare the performance between one model to another? Yes. I'll let Jones practically show it to you.
Yeah. Uh, I think in the interest of time, we did dive into what AI responses are and everything. Let's get back into our uh, workshop, head to the next step where we'll use a different model, Mistral, so that we can compare both of these models. Similar exercise. Let me just skip this. It's just using GPT 4.1 mini. So in this one, we are switching from GPT to Mistral. So what I'll do first is set the model. My token should already be there, so I'll just verify. My license key should also be there. So I'll just run bash. And I'll run my Python script. Now my Python script is running, my application is up. In this invocation or running this Flask application, we are using Mistral. So again, I'm just going with the default prompts that we have, but you could, when you're trying it out, you could try it out with your own models as well, your own prompts as well. Sorry. So you can see Mistral gave me some answer. I'll just try a few more prompts.
Not a great prompt to ask. How do I plan for API days at the end of the day?
You can still plan it for tomorrow.
Will you give 2025?
We are in 2025. You mean next year, 26?
26. So you can see given some answer. Now that we already have our application running, you can see that while we were trying it out, the number of responses increased. And while it increased, you can also see the couple of prompts coming in here where it still says GPT-4 Mini.
So all of this data is in Neuralink database. So we have two data centers, US and EU. Neuralink is a SaaS platform. So all the telemetry is stored in our platform. So we capture only the telemetry. In the beginning that I showed you, you have controls. If you don't want to capture input-output messages, you can mask them or drop them. We provide you the controls.
There is something called as drop filters and everything, which is configurable for you. You could also mask certain PII information so that these data don't come into New Relic, right? That's features are available. It's up to you to configure it the way how you want, the way how your organization needs.
Pure SaaS.
Yeah.
The previous product used to, you can build your own thing internally as well. You have your own data.
Yeah.
MySQL, whatever it is.
That was 7 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you see the couple of prompts that I tried with Mistral is available, again, giving you the similar information about what I was talking of with respect to the completion tokens, prompt tokens, and the complete consumed tokens. Here the model is changed to Mistral. If we just take, okay, guess the internet gods are not with us today. Again, similar information about what we spoke about, but here the model is different. You could see a difference in the response time, the tokens that is consumed, and of course the AI response. What's of interest now is okay. So even out of your application context, we have something called as AI monitoring, where similar experience with respect to AI responses, giving you a dashboard of all of your AI responses across all of your entities. So this is a out of the application context, right? So it has all of it up, all of your applications. Say if you have 100 applications using AI, you will have all of them in one place, giving you a one shot or one holistic view about how your LLM models are performing in all of your applications or all of your entities. We have something called as a model inventory. So here we were trying out things with respect to GPT-4 Mini and Mistral. So we did see that 6 different requests took about average time 5 seconds in GPT 5.94 and 9.3 in Mistral, the token consumed in different models, how is it different, also giving you a graph with respect to the request that's happened. So you can see Mistral request happened later in time, also the token usage for Mistral, the similar information about each of these prompts, and the next thing that you could do is compare prompts, something to answer your question about how do you compare each of these models. So let me just say GPT-4, Mistral, C comparison. And to answer your question about drop filters, this is where you configure them. So once you click on C comparison, you can see the total tokens consumed in completion with respect to both of these models, where you can see that GPT-4 is consuming about 35% lesser when compared with Mistral. The prompts tokens, response tokens is also 36% lesser than Mistral. When it comes to performance, we see that Mistral is a little bit faster, 0.1%. Again, it's the same prompts, but different prompts have different token use consumptions and different responses. But you will have a holistic view about how each of these models, irrespective of the prompts, is performing. So say if you're having an application that's using multiple such models, and you want a holistic view of which model is cost effective, which model is performant, and you want to make a call holistically rather than looking at each of the responses, or taking a decision at an application level holistically, if you want to take it, this is the place to look at it.
My question was, so you have the thoughts when you take up the OpenAI. Take those request response like this, the basis that will be able to create a view on Claude or get it instantaneously, not really now trying to get the app, change the model and everything else. That's what I was understanding.
No, if I'm getting your question right, you want to compare your existing models without updating your application's context, which is not the solution. Solution is when your apps are consuming these AI models.
So we are only looking at the LLM performance over here.
Yeah, but it's yeah this yeah these are in the terms of how your apps are in the context of your applications,
You already have the bases that are there and what my application is interacting with or what I'm looking for.
right?
I'm just asking you, can you replay the same thing from here? Because there are tools available in the market that are allowing you to do that. Do the comparison, understand whether you answer the application, what the quality of responses that I know. I'm not seeing any qualitative comparison between the responses. We are only talking about quantitative stuff.
Right.
Generative AI will require you to do qualitative analysis. Is that a feature available in the market or not?
Not as of now, but we can discuss it offline as well to understand better your requirement.
I'll
Any other
just
quick questions?
I'll just take 1 minute extra. The last challenge where you can do is build your own dashboards. I know building dashboards is more very perspective to each org and each individual or each teams, because you may want to look at different kinds of metrics. With New Relic and the telemetry data already resisting in New Relic, you can use the NURCL queries or New Relic query language, where you can define different queries and set up your own dashboards. Uh, the last exercise walks you through it, where the JSON is available. You just have to replace with your account ID and deploy it in your own account. In the interest of time, I'm just using the screenshots to walk you through it. Where, oops, this was next, sorry. So you could build a comprehensive dashboard, something like this, where we have something called as lookup table, where you can define how much it costs for each token usage, because each of these LLM models, the pricing could change, or it could be changed quarterly, yearly, whatever, right? You don't have a specific way to feed them in. So you get there's a CSV available which you can import in, add a lookup table. Based on the lookup table and the AI responses and the token usage that's happening, this dashboard will build you a complete cost analysis about your AI models. So this is a very comprehensive dashboard where it talks about the output tokens, input tokens, and also the cost related to it and the raw data that we saw.
Just to add, you can set up alerts on these dashboards as well, which where you can get real-time alerts on the consumption of tokens and cost, rather than waiting for the month end and then getting surprised. So if your apps are consuming more, your bills are going higher, you can set up an alert to get triggered on that.
Yeah, and this will look something like this because I already have it deployed on my account.
All right, we'll open it up for Q&A, but just to emphasize, the lab that you took this photo for the QR code will be available to you till Friday. You can use your own GitHub models. You can use sign up for a New Relic free tier account. It does not charge you anything. You can run this complete thing that we did for free. The lab will be accessible till Friday evening, so make sure you sign that. Use the URL diligently. Try the applications, and New Relic account you can sign up anytime. All right, we'll open it up for Q&A.
Anyone?
I guess we answered the question.
I think we took all the questions. But happy to answer any question. We are still available here at the booth as well for tomorrow. You can try out the feature. Anything that you feel that's missing, let us know. We'll try to work with our team as well. If you feel that you're not able to instrument something, come back to us. We can help you set up on that as well. I think we could.
Yeah, I guess this workshop gave you a very fast track version about how you can do AI monitoring with New Relic, and this workshop will definitely give you more insights when you try it out. So keeping the slide open still, so that if you haven't taken a photo of the QR code, you could take it out and try it until Friday. If you have any questions, we are available here at the booth. Both Zameer and me will be here tomorrow as well. I'll be talking a little bit more about Bedrock models tomorrow and AI plus API with Lambda functions. So tomorrow 2 p.m. something at the Grand Ballroom 2, if I'm not wrong. So see you there as well.
Just a note, if anyone is interested after trying the lab, we have a 3-hour version of this lab with much more complex examples, much more different models, and we are also working on the agentic integration lab. So if you're interested, drop us a note, come to our booth. We can happily conduct this lab for you later. Thank you.
Thank you.